Hi, YouTube. This is Sage with Fashionably Safe, where safety is always in fashion. I'm bringing you a series that I'm going to do up on a book that I love called The Gift of Fear. I read this book many years ago, and I have to say that it's helped me in life and also in my business and understanding how important it is for women to use their intuition. And it's written by a man, Gavin De Becker, and he is a safety expert, and he has a company where he had throughout his book he talks about celebrities and people he has had to deal with to protect them and all the things that we don't know that goes behind the scenes of protecting people. And he wrote this book, and it's about just how fear can be a gift to us, how fear can be that thing to make us pay attention, and how important it is for us to use our instincts. And I saw this on the Oprah Winfrey show years ago, and she, with her Oprah's life class, she brought it back up and she started going over some of her shows. So that's what I'm going to do a series on the books. I had planned on rereading the book and also just bringing some of his tips, the things that people always tell us to choose better. And for us to choose better, we have to trust ourselves and trust our instincts and know that when someone approaches us, and how we need to use our voices and mean what we say. Because a lot of times as women, it gets discounted and we aren't believed. So this is just a 4-minute clip.
One of the stories I never forgot is actually the first story that Gavin De Becker speaks of in his book, Gift of Fear. It's about Kelly. We've all been in this situation where you want to be nice, you don't want to make the other person feel that you are rude, and women especially do this at our own risk. In The Gift of Fear, you start out the book talking about Kelly, who came to you to talk about what she had done wrong when she was raped. But as you talked her through it, she realized that she already saw all the signs herself. Can we talk about Kelly?
Sure. She came to me and told the story of a 3-hour rape ordeal she'd had.
3 hours.
She was coming home from shopping. She had a bag full of groceries, and she got to the door to her building, and it was unlocked. And she thought, damn, I wish my neighbors would lock the door, or the other people in the apartment building. But she was glad it was unlocked because she could just push it with her shoulder, not get out the key.
This is one of those buildings where you use the intercom?
Right, 4 floors, use the intercom, buzz lock. And she was up about 3 levels going to the 4th floor, and one of the grocery bags broke. And all the cans of cat food went tumbling down the stairs, and one of them she watched it turn down the 2nd floor. And she heard a man say, got it, I'll bring it up. And right from that second, she didn't like that voice. And right from that second, she knew something was wrong.
She later said to you, I didn't like the voice.
And she knew right at that moment. But here comes this friendly-looking guy up the stairs, and he says, hey, come on, we've got a hungry cat up there. Let me give you a hand with that. And he goes to take her bag to help her, and she doesn't let go of it. And she says, no, I don't need any help. And they're both holding onto the bag for a moment. And then she does let go. And in that moment, she tells him, I will trust you. That little exchange between the two of them is the decisive moment. But she's getting this intuitive signal. And ultimately, he gets to the door, and she says, hey, I'll take it from here. And he says, no, I promise. I'll just put the stuff down and go. But of course, he doesn't keep his promise. She lets him in, and he holds her at gunpoint. The rape had happened. He got up. He got dressed. He closed the window, which was open. And he said, I'll be right back. I'm going to get something to drink from the kitchen. And
I promise.
I promise. And she knew that he intended to come back and kill her. And we now know he did kill another of his victims. And as he turned and walked out of the room, he said, you stay right there. Don't you move. And she said, you know I won't move. And after the rape, she's come to me to talk about what did I do that saved my life, because she did an extraordinary thing listening to her intuition. And the moment he turned to walk out, she got up off the bed, pulled the sheet with her, and walked right down the hall, right behind him. He could have felt her breath if she'd been breathing. He continues on to the kitchen, and as she goes out her front door, she hears him going through drawers in the kitchen, and she walks right across the hall. Right. And she said to me, I knew the door of my neighbors would be unlocked intuitively. And she was right. She turned it. It was unlocked. She went in, locked it behind them, and told them to be quiet. And that listening to fear saved her life, because that was fear that she felt.
First of all, when you look at the women's faces in the audience, we were all spellbound by this story, because it is the horror that every woman fears having to experience. But it was life-changing and eye-opening for me, and I know so many millions of other women, not just because of the story and the terrifying experience that Kelly had to go through, but the lesson is that when she told him no the first time, when she said, no, it's okay, I can handle it myself, and he persisted in trying to help her, the lesson is when you say no, and you mean no, and the other person, regardless of whether it's in a situation where somebody wants to attack you or a situation where somebody wants you just to change your opinion, what I learned from this show is that when you say no and the other person continues to say, no, let me do it, or no, it'll be okay, you should think immediately, not how do I make it nice, how do I make it better, but immediately think, why is this person trying to control me? Because no is a complete sentence.
That's right. No is a complete sentence. And that's in everything. That's not just with strangers, even in your own home. And you're telling someone no. I actually told my child that the other day. I was like, no. But they want to negotiate. No means no. And that's in everything. And I just think it's disrespectful when I am telling you no, and you're already deciding that to discount my no as if it doesn't matter. And it's very scary because we are taught to be nice. We're just taught. I know my mother was a Southern belle, and I was taught just to be nice. Oh, just be nice. And if you weren't nice, you were then considered masculine, or you're acting like a boy. I'm thinking, I need to protect myself. Being nice doesn't protect me. There have been times when I would just be nice and I've been followed. The only word I can use is stalked, because he kept coming around, and I had to get a friend to act like we were dating for this man to leave me alone. I just said hi to him, and he took it as, oh my goodness. I mean, it's crazy because you have to lie so much just to be left alone. Being nice, I mean, I would love to just relax and walk out the door and not have to gear myself up. And when I'm around the opposite sex, just be nice. But in my own personal experience, being nice hasn't always worked for me. So here's another one. Same guy. Like I said, he's amazing. I'm just showing these videos because I just want women to start thinking, to just reintroduce them to the power that they have and how it's important for them to protect themselves, and just know that it is really up to us. And the things we have been taught are false. The things that we were taught to be feminine and to let the man do it and let other people lead. Through my life, I just can't get behind that concept, because I know in the past when I have let other people lead, I have been led into bankruptcy. I have been led into homelessness. I know that I personally can't do it. That might work for some people, but for me and my safety and the safety of my children, I know that I have to be in charge of myself. And that's just how it has to be, because there's no way I can allow someone to, this is my life. So let's get him going.
People ask me about the warning signs, and I always say the warning sign is in you. It's in the mother who gets that uneasy feeling. And the question is, does she take the opportunity to listen or to not listen?
Uneasy means something is wrong.
It means something is wrong. And it's always, this is the thing that people have trouble believing, that intuition is always right in at least two ways. One, it always has your best interest at heart. Mm-hmm. It's free of judgment.
Right.
And two, it's always based on something. Now, your interpretation may turn out to be wrong. Gee, I don't like that guy who keeps bringing gifts to my 12-year-old son during his lunch hour. It may turn out he's just a great guy. But when you get that feeling, to ignore it, to set it aside, is to do something that no other creature in nature would ever do. Can you imagine an animal that's being hunted by a lion saying, well, I think this is a nice lion? It knows it's a lion, and it never loses sight of the fact that there may be a danger.
Over the years, we've heard invaluable information that in a moment of danger could be life-saving. Nothing I heard made a greater impression on me than back in 1991. I think we were beginning our 5th season, and a man named Sanford Strong came on and shared this. Never forgot it.
Rule number 1, and frankly, it's probably, in my opinion, the most important. Never allow them to take you somewhere else. Never. If everyone in this room and everyone watching this program has never drawn the line and made a decision on crime protection, you better make it when they decide to move you from crime scene number 1 to crime scene number 2. Because the crime scene number 2 is going to be isolated. You won't choose it. You'll be the focus of the crime.
I think what was so interesting about that piece of advice is at the time that we all heard that, we had been trained as women people especially to believe that you just do whatever they say. Whatever they say, go along with it. And what's important for those of you who are watching right now and those of you who are on the internet with us right now to know is that it's all about using your gut in the moment. And people who've survived horrific circumstances talk about listening to that intuition and every move being made calculated on listening to what your gut says. What the experts now say is do not allow yourself to be taken to the second location, because anybody who is trying to harm you wants to get you to an isolated place where they can do that without other people seeing or knowing it. So in that moment of making the decision, oh, you're going to shoot me. If you're going to shoot me, you have to shoot me now rather than shoot me in isolation where nobody can see you. Whenever somebody has said something that made the little hairs on my arms or neck stand up, I know that if that's happening to me, that's also happening to somebody else too.